Welcome to Cohesive Home Podcast, episode 11. In today's episode, we're chatting about why we love using planners and creating weekly schedules to make our homes and lives less complicated.
Cohesive Home is a podcast for families desiring an uncomplicated life. Looking for inspiration to create your unique family culture and values-driven home? Kate and Melissa, two best friends and laid-back minimalists from opposite ends of the country, chat about all things parenthood, living simply, and crafting a happier home.
So one of the questions that we often see on Instagram as well as receive in email is how to use planning and weekly schedules to lead to greater simplicity in our homes and in our lives. And so today, Melissa and I wanted to share with you some of the ways in which we use planners, as well as suggest some ideas for simplifying your own schedule. So Melissa, have you always used a planner?
Kate, yes, I have. And honestly, I've always used a paper planner. I tried for possibly a month to use like the digital on your phone. And I've tried actually a couple times I've tried that, but I always go back to paper, always. And I bet a lot of you listening can probably relate to that. And so,
right.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm kind of similar. I have used digital in the past and I use paper as well, but I typically do a combination. So I keep appointments and other obligations in my cell phone calendar. But then I really like using a paper planner to record kind of the more specific details of our week. So places that we need to go, errands that we need to run, general homeschooling ideas.
Yeah.
And I also just like it as a place to record things that are on my mind. Grocery list, to-do list, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so you use paper. And so what kind of paper planner do you use, and how does that help you to create a more streamlined home?
Okay, yeah, so I actually have used kind of quite a few paper planners. Everything from ones at Target to more expensive ones. And right now I'm actually using the Erin Condren planner. And I like it. There's definitely things that I would change about it. I think that's the hard part about paper planners is that there's always something that just doesn't like jive with how you want to plan your day or your week. They are, a lot of them are becoming much more personalized. And so that is great. However, I don't know, something new always seems to come out and then I want it, sort of like you were talking about your bullet journal. And I was like, I want to do a bullet journal, but I already have one, so I have to stick with that. But mine is basically probably like most people's. I have my monthly view, then I have my weekly view, and I try and do everything in it as far as like my homeschool planning, my meal planning, and I try really, really hard to not have a million other little notebooks everywhere with like, oh, this is my meal planning notebook and this is my homeschooling notebook.
Right.
And yada, yada. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I use. What do you use? You use the bullet planner, right? And your phone?
Yes. So I have I think it's called a Lecterm 1917 notebook, and it has...
Sounds super fancy.
It is super fancy.
And complicated.
And it has squares inside. But it's basically graph paper, and it's blank. It has a blank index at the beginning. And for those of you who are not familiar with bullet journaling, you create all of your pages yourself. So like how Melissa was talking about having, a weekly view and a monthly view, you make that yourself. And so the benefit of that is that you can create your calendar as you go, and you have the freedom to make it more personalized, as well as express yourself on the pages. So a lot of people who bullet journal also draw and use it as a way to kind of, unwind as they're making their to-do list.
Yeah, that's kind of Brandon, my husband Brandon, he actually does that on his own. He just gets those little, I don't even know what they're called, but like the books with the dots in them. And I think it's something like that. He just creates his own little boxes and then creates his to-do list for each day. And then he'll do drawings, or he'll paste things in there if, something special happened, and he cuts it out and pastes it. And so I always thought that was really cool, but I definitely need my month view.
Right.
So that's something that I always find lacking, like with the bullet journals. But how do you plan though in using those things, and
right,
also in conjunction with your phone? How do you plan? Does that make sense? Like,
right.
How do you use them?
Okay, so I usually will once a week try to plan for the next week ahead. And so I am not a perfect bullet journaler. I don't think I'm following all the rules, and I'm still figuring it out. But I create a weekly view. So I do like a Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
And it looks very similar to a normal calendar. But within each of those days, I put everything. So I put if we have appointments, if we are meeting up with friends. I put if I need to grocery shop or go to the post office, work. So for my teaching job, as well as any cohesive home tasks. So I put everything in one place. Then I will make separate to-do lists for my job, for cohesive home, and then activities that I'd like to do with my girls.
I love that because I have my to-do lists or my lists of shopping or my list. I think we've talked before about how I love lists. And so that's very appealing to me. I almost want to just get like a bullet journal and then like a monthly view journal or something, so I can just have those two.
Or maybe just an old school big calendar on your wall or on your desk.
I have that too. I have them all.
Love calendars.
Everywhere. I love to
Melissa's minimalist in everything else except her calendar.
Except for like my note pages everywhere. Like I've been doing so good with keeping all of my lists in one spiral notebook. But it's hard. Sometimes I'll just jot things down on another piece of paper and I'm like, what was this? Oh yeah. I should consolidate that into my new list.
So for those of you listening, if you have multiple planners and calendars and things on your phone, listen, no judgment from us.
You can still be minimalists in our eyes.
There you go.
But yeah, so I sort of do the same thing you do.
Right.
On a Sunday night, I'll sit down and kind of look at my week if I'm doing any homeschool stuff. I mean, we're, as you know, maybe you guys listening don't know this, we're sort of unschoolers, so we don't do a lot of really strict abiding by like a formula of learning. Like it's more free form activities. So I'll go through all of our activities for the week. If we do want to do math or something like that formally, I'll put that in there. But even though, since now it's summer, it's the same as you. I sit down, I go, okay, this is what I have for the week. And then I'll make a list for the day. But I really think I'm going to try that bullet journal, because I find that sometimes I'll make a list and it's everything. It's my to-do list.
It can be overwhelming.
It is. It's my shopping list. It's like, and then I have, sometimes I really wish podcasts, you could actually see what I'm doing right now. 'Cause I'm like my list, and then I have a side list, and then I have a side list, and it keeps going. And so maybe the bullet journal would be right for me. I don't know. I'll I'll have to check it out.
So obviously, Melissa and I both love planners and we use them. But Melissa, would there ever be a time that maybe there could be too much of a good thing?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I find that it creates clutter on my planner. It creates clutter on my mind if I've written too much. And by too much, I mean I've scheduled too much, or I've scheduled and then rescheduled and written in the margins. And there's definitely a time when there is just too much, because it really does. You look at your planner and it can create this stress that you didn't even realize was there.
And I also feel like the planner it's a great tool, but it shouldn't be the sole guide to your life. If you're living by your planner, then you're losing those opportunities for spontaneity and just leaving white space in your schedule.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's why I feel like one thing that we're really striving towards, I know you guys are too, but as your girls get older, you'll realize this, because my kids are just now getting to the ages where they want to do dance, they want to do basketball, they want to do all of these things, which are all really good and very good for our kids to be involved in these things. However, when our kids are over planned and we are over planning, that it creates less white space. And I think that it goes hand in hand with how we, talk here at Cohesive Home about really uncomplicating your life, being uncomplicated in those daily tasks as well as life goals and how your home looks. It's everything.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and Melissa, I found earlier this year that I really was filling our days too much. And we were going somewhere nearly every single day. So for those of you listening, I have a 5 and a 2-year-old. And we were going places all the time. And so I am now trying to make sure that we have days at home that are unscheduled, that we can just sit and read books and play and clean, because that has to happen. But simply leaving room in the margins.
Yeah. I find that what I'm finding, I should say, lately, if I schedule my kids something every single day, that's a big thing. Like, I'm not talking about going to the library or doing little errands or something like that. I'm talking about big stuff, like really keeping them busy, right? If I continue to do that on a daily basis, I find that on the days that we stay home, they're less imaginative and they're not able to unwind. It's almost like they are so used to just being entertained or so used to just go, 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 that when we do just sit and wait or not do anything, it's kind of harder for them to really focus in on like just imagining or doing something at home. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I'm seeing lately.
That is such a good point. And I know as an adult that I get overwhelmed if I have something every single day. I don't think that that's just common to children, but I think all of us need that freedom in our schedule as much as possible.
Oh, definitely. So speaking of planning, we are actually planning some pretty cool things, I think, after the break. And if you didn't know about our break, we are going on one from, what is it, Kate?
Oh, to put me on the spot here.
I know, because I can't.
Well, let's see. I'm driving away in our camper with my family Friday. So we'll say starting Saturday, I think until July 10th.
Yes.
So we're taking 2 weeks off.
So it's going to be nice. Oh, we thoroughly enjoy this community, but at the same time, as many of you know that are owners of your own businesses, we don't get paid for this, but yet we run it like a business. We put a lot of thought and effort and love into it. And so to have a couple weeks off is going to be really nice.
We are so glad you joined us today on the Cohesive Home podcast. Let's continue chatting about schedules and planners on Instagram. Post your ideas for creating simple schedules and let us know your favorite planner on the Episode 11 podcast post. And if you have a few minutes, will you write us a review on iTunes or send this podcast to a friend? We really appreciate it.
And as always, we are so thankful for you. There would be absolutely no cohesive home without this amazing community. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in July after our break.